me to say up front, I apologize. I'm still shook up by what happened last night to Demar Hamlin. Last thing we want to try to do is come off as insensitive.
All right, so this is my last stop in my gigantic trip with my family. For those of you guys that are new to the channel, I don't typically record in a bedroom. I took my family on this gigantic 3-week trip. We started out in Dubai, then we went to Turkey, now we're in Israel. In 6 days from now, I should be back in my studio. But to be honest, it's been really awesome getting you guys content while I'm on vacation and still being able to do my job. The caveat being, of course, there's a slight hit in quality, and I hope you guys don't mind. Before we get to the content today, I want to let you guys know you could donate to Demar Hamlin's foundation and charity in the description down below. That link takes you to a tweet promoting his charity. So if you don't have the financial means of supporting Demar Hamlin, then you can retweet the tweet for free and spread the word out. Now that we get all that out of the way, break. This video is sponsored by PrizePicks. You guys know PrizePicks has been my latest obsession because I live in California. There's no way that you could gamble on games in California, so the best way you could get action on games is through PrizePicks. And ever since I partnered with them, we've been having a lot of fun. And before we get to the latest promo, I want to give a huge shout out to my man, Nasri Hasbun, who tweeted me a 6-legged pick that he hit on as a result of our last promo, which means he 25x'd his money. And that's freaking awesome. Hopefully more of my subs hit this big as a result of today's promo. As a matter of fact, it's not only today's promo, because from this day and on until Christmas Day, PrizePicks is releasing a brand new promo every day, and it's called Picksmas. All you have to do is download PrizePicks, use my promo code Mikerophone to get up to a $100 deposit match, and then just log into PrizePicks each and every day to see what they're offering for that day. Since they're offering a brand new promo each and every day, I'm probably going to be posting my picks onto my Instagram story. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I literally play PrizePicks each and every day. So huge shout out to PrizePicks for the sponsorship. Make sure you sign up with my promo code Mikerophone or the link in the description down below. And thank you, PrizePicks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I want you guys to know I really don't have any agenda against Skip Bayless or Shannon Sharpe. I'm not out trying to cancel Skip Bayless. As a matter of fact, Skip Bayless is one of my biggest influences. I actually saw Shannon Sharpe at the gym about a month and a half ago, and I told him that he was a huge influence of mine. And his response was, well, he could give less of a shit. Regardless, he's a legend, and I have tremendous respect for the both of them. Unfortunately, it seems like as a result of recent controversial statements that Skip Bayless has made, there's a chance that Shannon Sharpe and him could potentially break up. That is my own speculative comment, but the evidence for this is the fact that Shannon Sharpe didn't show up to Undisputed as a result of Skip Bayless's recent comments. And when you take a look at Skip Bayless's history, man, it could have potentially been the straw that broke the camel's back. On one hand, I will admit there is a chance that this could be some gigantic publicity stunt, but I feel like the situation at hand is so sensitive that I don't think they would be using this for publicity at all. I mean, I hope they wouldn't be, but let me take you through the whole shebang so you guys can decide for yourself. The story starts from 2 years ago. In September of 2020, Dak Prescott opened up about one of the most challenging summers of his life. A summer where he lost his brother Jace as a result of him ending his own life because of him watching his mother go through cancer treatment and her unfortunately losing her life as well, which I can only imagine how difficult that might be for a child to see the mother go through rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds of chemotherapy. There's a special place in my heart for any individual that has to go through that, for those of you guys that do know my story and what I have had to deal with recently in this past summer. And ultimately, there was an interview in depth with Graham Bessinger where Dak Prescott opened up about how much pain this caused him. The sad thing about this is Dak Prescott's road was only going to become more challenging because literally a month later, he would sustain that season-ending leg injury. But at the time, Skip Bayless, who is known for being a gigantic Dallas Cowboys fan, went on Undisputed, and for those of you guys that don't watch Undisputed, at least 75% of the show is dedicated to the Dallas Cowboys and LeBron James, which I don't really blame them. The Dallas Cowboys and LeBron James are gigantic topics, so I get it. But Skip Skip Bayless, a renowned Dallas Cowboys fan, said one of the most insensitive things I think I've ever seen any person say on live TV when he said this.
I don't have sympathy for him going public with, I got depressed. He's the quarterback of America's team. If you reveal publicly any little weakness, it can affect your team's ability to believe in you in the toughest spot.
Now, Skip Bayless was eviscerated for saying this. I mean, looking at a human being that lost two members of his family. If you remember, Dak Prescott and all his brothers appeared on a Campbell's Chunky Soup commercial.
People say talent runs in the family.
Really?
That's what I've heard.
Who let my brothers in?
Or is it because we feed you chunky soup?
Campbell's Chunky, packed with hearty meat and veggies.
I'll take the next question.
So these brothers are clearly tight. So to not only lose your mother, but also lose your brother. And then, of course, this is before the leg injury. It's just Dak's been through a lot. And whether you're a Cowboy fan or a fan of some other team, at the very minimum, you gotta look at him as a human being and say, this is a guy that you could respect. This is a man that is very respectful, very humble, and that has just went through a lot of pain. And to look at him and say, hey, bro, you are the quarterback of America's team. You don't have a right to come out here and be a little pansy and be depressed. You gotta get it together and be a man, is incredibly insensitive in my opinion. But to be honest, I personally am a very forgiving guy. I think there's times where just takes are horrible, and if you're on TV each and every day, you're bound to mess up at some point or another. I know I definitely have done it. Skip Bayless would eventually apologize. Now, some people would think it's a sincere apology. Some people didn't really care much for his apology. But let's bring you to something a little bit more recently. If you remember, I brought you a video on this a couple of weeks ago when Skip Bayless said something that made it seem like Shannon Sharpe was actually going to punch him in the face.
This is just straight hate by a guy who's jealous that he's still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
Yeah, that's what you
That's
do.
the point.
That's what you do. Every time I call something into question, I'm jealous.
No,
Yeah, I did what I
never
did.
said you were jealous of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I did what I did. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I
so
got 3
what?
Super Bowls.
So what?
So what?
In this situation, Skip Bayless pretty much said that Tom Brady was better than Shannon Sharpe, which is shocking because they don't play the same position. I think comparing Tom Brady to any other player in the NFL, especially a player that plays a completely different position, is just unfair. I mean, I think Tom Brady's longevity should be appreciated and should be respected as something that isn't easy to do and that we might never see again. I hope we do, but I don't think we will. So to look at Shannon Sharpe, your co-host, and say, hey, Tom Brady was better than you and played more than you and was significantly more successful than you, although, yeah, he is significantly more decorated, is just such a disrespectful and lazy thing to say. But to Skip Bayless's credit, the man actually apologized on his podcast to his partner, which is what he should do.
Brothers fight. I have the highest regard for Shannon Sharpe because he prepares and he competes so hard. And I love to do battle with my man. Even though occasionally we go a little too far, we both got over it very quickly. We moved right along. We got right back on track, business as usual.
Now, this brings us to the tragic Demar Hamlin incident. Now, for those of you guys that don't know what happened with Demar Hamlin, it's our last video. You guys could go check it out. I really don't want to bring it up again. It's a really sensitive and difficult topic to cover. I already did it once, and I really don't want to do it again unless if there is an update to the situation. My prayers with Demar Hamlin's family, my prayers with the Buffalo Bills players and the Cincinnati Bengals players and T. Higgins. I mean, everyone on that field clearly was traumatized from the incident, but Skip Bayless said something very shocking. Now, the very first tweet wasn't so bad. Bayless would say, not exactly sure what happened to Demar Hamlin. Players on both teams are shaken. Ambulance out on the field. CPR administered. Can't remember a play being stopped for this length of time. Just said a prayer for him and his family. You might be thinking, all right, Mike, no big deal. Sounds pretty normal. Just Skip Bayless live tweeting. Well, then he would say, I've seen so many horrific injuries suffered on football fields, yet never have I seen a reaction like this. In every other situation I witnessed or covered, the game always went on fairly quickly. The attitude was, hey, that's football. These players, this was different. I mean, it's his job. He live tweets. I get it. At this point, maybe he should have just put down the phone. But of course, it was a very long play. And to be honest, it is definitely something atypical. The only other situation that is eerily reminiscent to the Demar Hamlin situation is the Chuck Hughes situation, which I'll leave in the end screen. That video is demonetized for obvious reasons, and if you guys want to check it out, I'll leave a link to it in the end screen. The next tweet is what pissed a lot of people off, including potentially his partner, and that's when he said, "No doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant." I want to say that a lot of people will immediately look for a reason to get very angry at Skip Bayless because of the history this man has, the beef he picks with athletes, and just the way he makes his living. I mean, he literally built his brand off of hating on LeBron James. You're talking about a guy that literally posts a 2 a.m. alarm clock asking if LeBron James is getting up earlier than him. I mean, this man is a certified lunatic. But at the same time, the way I read this tweet was there is no question in our minds that the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but this game is clearly a very hyped up game. I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals and Buffalo Bills combined for the most wins in a Monday Night Football game in NFL history. At least the way I took it is Skip was trying to say that this game's outcome from these two hyped up teams are clearly irrelevant in comparison to the tragedy that is occurring on the field. Unfortunately for Skip Bayless, most people didn't take the tweet that way either. And let me know in the comment section down below how you took the tweet. If you took it the way I took it, if you thought that he was saying something else, that's how I immediately took it. Unfortunately for Skip, one of those people that may have not taken it that way was Shannon Sharpe, because that next day on Undisputed on Tuesday morning, Shannon Sharpe was nowhere to be found. It was very unusual and uncomfortable to watch Skip Bayless doing Undisputed all by himself, especially given the situation he was in. The tweet that he tweeted out got 132 million views, and a lot of people called him a really sick human being. A lot of my YouTube friends got banned on Twitter for cussing him out, and to be honest, it was a very poorly worded tweet, but at the same time, I thought it was something he could come back from, especially if his partner was there the next day to at least ease the tension a little bit. It's a little bit easier to simmer things down when you have your lovable Hall of Famer co-host that literally everyone loves. I mean, I don't think there's many people that dislike Shannon Sharpe. So the fact that Skip Bayless opened up Undisputed like this was very uncomfortable and definitely made you feel the moment a little bit more.
If you'd like to tweet us your emotions of the night about what happened, please do so. You can tweet us at @Undisputed. The last thing we want to do is offend anyone by trying to do what we always do, which is talk about sports. Obviously, my partner Shannon Sharpe is not here today. I look forward to seeing him tomorrow.
So for those of you guys that don't know, Shannon Sharpe didn't show up to Undisputed. And there's two reasons why this could have been. One, it could have been that Shannon Sharpe just couldn't go on and do a football show after witnessing what he witnessed. I had to do my video on the Demar Hamlin situation multiple times. It was a very difficult video to cover. Definitely in the top 10 of one of my most difficult videos I've ever had to make. I only watched the footage once, and I don't think I'm going to watch it again. It's very disturbing to see and very tragic to see. So I don't blame Shannon Sharpe for saying I can't go to work the next day, despite there being a lot to talk about. I mean, Donovan Mitchell had a 71-point game. There was definitely a lot of sports topics to discuss. The other thing could be that he really just couldn't do a show with Skip Bayless after Skip Bayless said what he had said. And bear in mind, Skip Bayless disrespected Shannon Sharpe to his face a few weeks ago, and we even made a video on multiple other instances where Shannon Sharpe could have potentially felt disrespected. Now, I do know this could have potentially been scripted, and this could have potentially been a ploy. I mean, in my head, if I'm thinking in terms of pure marketing, what's a good way to make people talk about Skip and Shannon more? Well, Skip Bayless tweeted something that was worded horribly. It caused a lot of people to get angry at him, and then things start to simmer down at least a little bit. It's been a whole day, and then Shannon Sharpe doesn't show up to Undisputed. So that's definitely a way to get people to talk about it, because Shannon Sharpe was at the top of the trending list as a result of it. But I don't think this is a situation where they would do anything like that. I could see why Shannon Sharpe would be very upset at what Skip Bayless has said. So at the end of the day, one has to wonder, could this be the end of Skip and Shannon? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.